say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20, good morning to you all. So welcome. It's To The Point. It's Wednesday, the 2nd day of April, 2025. Good morning to those of you via social media platforms, whether it's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning once again. I'm your host, GT. It's Wednesday, and usually we have various departments representing government here on the program on a Wednesday here on To The Point. We do have, of course, representing the Ministry of Agriculture this morning. We have Miss Lawrence and Louis this morning. She's the Chief Extension Officer. Also, we have the Permanent Secretary. That's Mr. Issac Bhagwan. They are both with us this morning. Let me say good morning to you both, and welcome to The Point. Good morning.
Good morning, GT.
Yep.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to the listening public.
All right, welcome. So our focus this morning, we have a couple of areas that we'll be focusing a whole lot. You know, it's always good to have the folks from the Ministry of Agriculture. It's one of the ministries that have a level of importance in the overall, well-being of the nation, if you could say that. Agriculture plays an important role.
Of course.
And, to know what's going on in the Ministry of Agriculture, of course, we want to have a whole bit of a conversation this morning. I want to kick the conversation off this morning. Post-burial is a conversation that everybody's still having. When it comes to agriculture, folks are still saying, burial and burial and burial.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, the support that farmers has been receiving, if someone could diverge into that for us a wee bit this morning, the support farmers been receiving, and all the other good stuff that's been happening for farmers, if we could put it in that context, after burial. Who wants to take the mantle up and to get the ball rolling, if you would say?
Good morning. I think I could take that one.
Sure.
I'll leave most of the other ones for PS. So good morning to you, GT, and good morning to the listening public, and especially good morning to our farmers and our stakeholders in the agricultural sector. In terms of the post-burial support that we would have provided, of course, the biggest thing that everybody speaks about is the livelihood incentive support.
Yes.
That is where we would have provided $4,500 and $9,000, depending on your acreage as a farmer. We are almost finished with that program. It's not quite finished yet.
Okay.
Through that program, we would have spent over $35 million and that is like a direct injection of funds, to the farmers. We currently are in the process of wrapping up that project and that program. We have, I think, there's one list that is in to be paid, that is in with finance that they're processing, and there is supposedly another list coming up. One last final list for anybody who would not have heard about the program or somehow did not get the information in.
Okay.
We have that, we have that list coming in too. Part of that program also was the support with chainsaw service. So we would have assisted the farmers, because we have to appreciate that after the storm, after the hurricane, many of the trees were uprooted. They were thrown together, and they were nutmeg and cocoa trees. So it's not small, it's not small trees.
Yes.
And then the areas, of course, where they are, it's very hilly. It's quite challenging to clear. And so we would have spent quite a bit of resources also in having chainsaw teams that went around and assisted the farmers in clearing the land. So that was also part of the support that I think about $6 million was spent on that in clearing for the chainsaw teams.
Tell us about how farmers may have benefited. We'll come to you, Mr. Shorty, Mr. Barbara. How has the farmers really benefited from this program? I mean, what has been the feedback been for farmers who are really affected from hurricane? How has that program really have benefited them a whole lot?
Well, we have to appreciate that the farmers' livelihood is production.
Yes.
And they would have depended on harvesting the crops. And when the trees were destroyed, their livelihood is destroyed. And so we were able, through that program, we were able to assist them so that they can still live, they can provide for their families, and of course they can put back some of the support back as an investment in back in the land. And many of them, I mean, we've seen it countless times. Many of them are very, very appreciative. For most of them, it's the first time they would have received that sort of support, cash and that amount from government. And so they're very, very appreciative of it.
All right, well, you want to highlight anything on
Yes, good morning again, folks. So I just wanted to contextualize the burial payment. As the public may know, the government of Grenada have been part of the CRIF insurance.
Yes.
And we would have received a payout in record time shortly after the passage of Hurricane Beryl. And we also had the coast insurance also for the fisher folks. So when we did the analysis in terms of, based on what we would have received, we recognize that the amount would have been just minimal, just about an average of $305 US dollars, that would be available. And we felt that was not enough. So the matter was brought to Cabinet, and Cabinet took a policy decision, as Ms. Saintly would have indicated, that all farmers across the board, once you've been affected by Hurricane Beryl, whether for those whose acres is under 5 acres, then you get a payment, a one-off payment of $4,500, and above that, then you get $9,000. So I just wanted to make that in terms of the contextualized situation. Also, too, with the coast insurance, which is again predominantly for the fisher folks. It is not only the boat owners, but all the persons, the deckhand, and all those who are in the value chain. And there was a livelihood component to it, which we would have paid persons. But again, Cabinet would have made a policy decision that they would pay, half the amount of the assessed damage of the particular boat, whether you owner or the operator. So, based on the level of damage, you pay 50% of it. So that also was a policy decision that would have really helped persons to get started in terms of repairing the boats and to be able to get back out to ply the trade.
All right. Tell me this. How was the decision of assisting farmers determined in terms of the size of their farms? So how was the assistance determined for farmers?
Well, for farmers, it was... You were not assessed on how much damage you received.
Okay.
It was a one-off payment. If you had 5 acres and less, you got $4,500.
Okay.
And if you got over that, if you had over that in terms of acreage, you got the $9,000.
Right. As so long as you, musically on the size of
as
your
long,
farm, the size
yeah,
of your farm.
as long as you receive damage.
Damages.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything you want to expand on that, Mr. Bhagwan? That basically covers the post-burial support for now. Any other support that was offered that maybe was not mentioned at all?
Well, I just wanted to mention the issue of additional support input. So we've had the fertilizer program, as Ms. Saintly would have mentioned. So farmers are getting these blended fertilizers, good quality fertilizers, at a nominal price of $1 per kg.
Okay.
All right. So this very said fertilizer that is selling it in the private sector is about $220 a bag. But you get it for $50. 50 pound bag at $50. So I just wanted to.
That's a deal, right?
Well, of course, yes. Yeah, and then also too, when Hurricane Beryl would have struck, we are just at the point of. Every year we propagate plants for distribution, so we would have had quite a quantity. I think it was about 58,000 thereabout plants that was available. So of course, government again took a decision to sell this, and in most cases give it away at probably $1 or nothing at all, to make sure that part of the cleaning program is that you don't just clean, but you're able to plant, right? Okay. And that is in an effort to get the land covered. But we're speaking about the tissue culture lab, more on supporting this regard.
All right. I want to get your both perspective on the overall outlook for agriculture. From your perspective as being the permanent secretary for, we into 2025. Still in a post-Beryl outlook. What's the overall outlook for agriculture now that you said the majority of the farmers has received the assistance? There's still a couple of them that still have to get the assistance coming. What's the overall outlook, you would say? For agriculture in general, and farmers in general in Grenada.
Okay, so post-Beryl, farmers have bounced back, many of them. Yeah. They've started replanting, of course, with the help that they would have received to clear, and so they started replanting.
And we know we're into the dry season again.
So but this year, the dry season is
It's not that bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad. We're getting some rain in between. And of course, we have a lot of other programs in the Ministry of Agriculture that are assisting farmers in terms of their production.
Right.
So we have shade houses that we are going to be we have given out some, and we have some more to give out. We have irrigation support through different projects that we're giving out also. And so we've been saying it forever, that food security is essential, that we have to ensure that we can feed ourselves. But now, if you look at the world, take a broader picture out of Grenada and look at the world situation, we are in a period when we have to be able to feed ourselves.
So true.
And our farmers are the lifeblood of any nation. If you can't feed yourself, then you are so dependent on everything. Mm-hmm. And so the Ministry of Agriculture, even though we have been supporting our farmers, but we are going to be ramping up our support, and we've gotten directives from Cabinet just yesterday to get on it and show them the plan, what it is that we think that we want to do, and we will have government support as much as possible to ensure that that we can produce the food that we're going to eat. We have to start thinking about the linkages that we have with agriculture and tourism and education and all of those linkages, and put them together and ensure that as a nation that we can have our food and that we can have that kind of sovereignty, because if not, we don't have anything else.
So true. All right. Let's go to we're still on the option of assistance. So let's talk a wee bit about the farm machinery unit that will be launched. That's another form of assistance to farmers. Mm-hmm. Expand on that a wee bit. Tell me about this particular the unit that will be launched and how farmers will be assisted in reference to that.
Yes. So the farm machinery unit, unit have been out of existence for the past 5 or so years.
Yeah.
All right. There was no support basically, so it was basically left to the few private sector persons, operators, and so government have taken a policy decision to reintroduce the farm machinery unit, and under the World Bank project we have done just that. So this Friday we'll be having the official launch of the farm machinery unit. And the machines have been here for the past 2 weeks. We have done all the training with the operators. We have already worked with Extension Division in terms of identifying farmers and so. So we have quite a bit of equipment. So we have at least 4 plows, different size. We have the small ones and the large one. We also have procured a tractor. Very often when you go to a farmland, either the access route to the farm or the land is not cleared properly with stones and roots, etc. So that tractor would go in, first of all, and to make sure that all these impediments and so are out of the way.
And I guess that's what the request from the farmers.
Exactly. So once the request comes in, then we go out, assess it, determine how long it will take, what is required, and then you deploy the machine. We also have a crane truck that we would have procured to be able to transport the implements, because of course the plow have various implements. Mm-hmm. We also would have procured other light items, like we have 20 power tillers, shredders, misblowers, pruners, chainsaw, etc. So all that becomes a part of the farm machinery unit. I want to say also that the service is not totally free.
I was just going to get to that part of it, and I'm assuming there will be a cost factor coming into play with this.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there's going to be a reasonable rate.
Definitely, yes. So once we get the final green light from Cabinet in terms of the fees that we'll be charging, right, then we could be able to indicate that to the public. But I would say to you that it costs you an average of $125 per hour from the private sector to come to your farm to plow. Part of it would be probably a $50 towards the mobilization fee to get the equipment
to the farm.
Exactly. So that we are in fact considering not having a mobilization fee and to pay just for the time that the machines would have plowed on it. So again, and also we have all the implements. So whereas, to clean, half an acre of land that would have taken you the greater part of 2 weeks to clean and to fork and to make beds, etc., you literally could do that in 2 hours, thereabout, So by the time the machine leave the farm all you have to do is to just plant, basically, because we could do the beds, we could do the furrows, and all the things that is required. So you take away all this additional labor and cost for the farmer to be able to prepare the land to be able to plant.
You know, there's always that conversation that will come in when, of course, government get machinery of those nature and stuff. The maintenance aspect of it. That is so important because, you know, we all know what happens when folks believe that things belongs to government.
Yeah.
You know, that carefree attitude that goes towards the, you know, the use and so forth. I'm assuming that this time around there'll be more serious attention put into these equipment.
Certainly.
And make sure that they are properly maintained for the long haul. Because we need it to always be available.
Yeah. So in this regard, the equipments are on warranty for at least a year.
Yeah.
And we already know the servicing plan, but separate and apart from when the supplier would come to do the, you know, scheduled servicing, we made it mandatory that every week the machine should be checked, greased, and do these kind of things. We also would have procured a number of parts that we expect will wear and tear quickly, and have already signaled to the supplier that we need to get for the next budget cycle, you know, whatever it is, additional spare parts that we need. Because that's one of the problems too, that sometimes the ministry does not put in the budget to replace parts, etc. And if it's not there, then it's a challenge to get it. So we have made sure that that is being taken care of so that we could be able to service. Added to that, we are looking at getting into an arrangement with a private provider, you know, service provider, so that they also could come and do checks in the interim, because you know
the actual manufacturers is not
exactly because we expect the machine going to work hard initially, very, very hard in this regard.
We also have on the, like, for the smaller machines and so the chainsaws and those other things, we already have some of those at the extension district offices, and with those we have an agreement where the farmer would sign that you have it for this amount of days, and that if anything happens to it, then it's your responsibility. So far, we haven't had many problems. When they bring it back, they ensure that it's working, and then we ensure that, as according to the maintenance schedule, that we bring it back to get serviced, and so that those will also be available to the farmers through the extension division.
Oh, that's right. So far, so good. We're due for a break. Let's take our first break in the segment, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out. Let's To The Point. Classic Radio, GBN TV.
Served Grenada for decades.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th, so don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plain Field from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. Hey everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on GBN Television 711 K105 FM, our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kaiso Talk. Meet the Kaisonians, hear their stories, feel the vibes. Kaiso Talk, Wednesdays 8:30 p.m. Compliments the Grenville Credit Union.
I think nutrition is an integral part of managing many of the diseases that we see manifesting here in our region. If we don't make food our medicine, medicine will eventually become our food.
We're trying to focus on reading food labels, because reading food labels, it's also another important factor in making sure that we as persons choose healthier food options.
Join us on Caribbean Medical TV
Right here on this station.
Welcome back once again, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. To the Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. With me this morning from the Ministry of Agriculture, we have Ms. Lauren St. Louis. She is the, of course, Chief Extension Officer. We have Mr. Issac Bhagwan, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, this morning. Welcome back once again. Let's turn our focus to now, of course, tissue culture. I want you to explain that for me a wee bit. I'm weak in agriculture, has limited knowledge in reference to that. I have never practiced at all. So explain that to me about these programs coming up, the tissue culture. We want to talk a wee bit about the breeding program. I've certainly heard about that particular program, and of course I've heard from farmers who are not farmers, but from the ministry in terms of the benefit it will bring to farmers and so forth. So let's hear a wee bit about in relation to that.
Okay, so tissue culture production is a means of rapid multiplication of plants.
Yes.
I won't get technical, but the plants are certain parts of the plants are used to multiply, and those are the growing cells of the plant. Okay. They are used to multiply the plants really quickly in a lab, under lab conditions. Okay. The benefits of that is that you get an exact replica of the plant, the mother plant, okay. And of course that you can make so many. It's usually in test tubes to begin with, and then you put them in petri dishes as they grow. That's on the technical side. All right. But the plants are disease free. Yeah. So we would be able to have plants. A large number of plants multiplied in a much shorter time. They would be disease-free, and they would be exactly what you want. Right. So you can choose a mother plant that would have all of the characteristics that you would like. This is what I want to multiply, and you can multiply. You can have many, many plants in a very, very short space of time. How would that
benefit farmers in general?
Well, over the past few years, we've been purchasing tissue culture plants from other places because we haven't had a lab for quite a while. Okay. I think it's over 10 years that we haven't, because I've been in the ministry since 2010, and since then we haven't had a lab. And I think it's before that. Right. So it's more than 10 years we haven't had a lab. Farmers will be able to access the plants much more easily and of greater quantity.
And
if we're
quality,
doing it, and quality of course. If we're multiplying the plants ourselves, then we don't have to think about where it's coming from, the transit, how many will die in transit, all those different rigors of the plant in transporting it from wherever it's coming from to here. Yeah. So we would have to we would have the plants much more easily readily available for the farmers, and of course they can have as many as they like. Okay. So we'd be able to provide, especially in terms of bananas, any of the banana type. So all of the true banana, and then you have plantains, and all of those types, and root crops, we will be able to use there too. And of course we have gotten, and over the years, quite a lot of recognition for flowers. Yes. And we'll be able to also use the tissue culture lab to replicate some of our flowers. So it will be something that will really greatly impact the lives of our farmers and, of course, the lives of our technicians. Because as you go ahead and you become more involved in this, your education level, of course, has to rise to the level of providing these plants in a safe, healthy manner so that you can have quantity and quality plants.
Right. And it also helps in terms of the availability.
Of course.
Also, no longer that farmers may have to
wait or we have to
especially
share.
when it's been imported.
You know, when we're importing, we have to ensure that we kind of split up so that everybody can get.
Yeah.
Now we'll be able to provide, and especially provide on order. If a farmer would like to have this banana plant replicated, that, you know, they go and they speak to Miss Alison Haynes. She's the person in charge at the Mirabo station.
Okay.
And, you know, those kind of arrangements can be made.
If you could share with me, what are the type of crops that are done in for Grenada market per se at the plant?
Well, we haven't started yet, but like I said, we'll be doing bananas, any type of bananas, blogger, all the banana types. Those for bananas for cooking and bananas for fruits. Yeah. We'll be doing root crops. Yeah. So Tanya, Edos, yams. Sweet potatoes, not necessarily, because sweet potato is easy to do, but you know, those are some of the ones that we sure we will be doing. Pineapples is one of the fruits that we'll also be doing, and like I said, the flowers. You can do a lot of orchids there, and you can also do the other more traditional plants that, you know, that we have.
All right, that certainly will be help a lot in terms of the climate condition, knowing that it's done in Grenada at the same time. All right. Anything on the expand on that?
Yes, I also want to add that, of course, the building and some of the equipment and technician are coming, given to us compliments the Chinese government. So the Chinese will have put in approximately $700,000 towards building the facility and, as I said, equipping it, etc. And government would put in another 300,000. In fact, I've put in another 300,000. So we're talking about a facility that is worth approximately $1 million.
Okay.
As Ms. Sindhu have indicated, we're ready for business. There's one or two minor hiccup in that. We do not have all the staff on board as yet, but we do have staff that could start the process. And because, of course, you need three-phase electricity, we're waiting on that. So once that is connected, then we'll be able to start production. So in year one, we intend to do the banana and plantain production. In year two, we want to focus a lot on the root crops, the yam, the cassava, and these kind of ground provision. And year three, we want to be able to do tree crops and ornamental flowers, etc. So we do have a plan, and again, based on demand, we could be able to tweak it and, you know, readjust exactly.
Which is demanded more.
Yeah, because in the past, what you find is that farmers were not sure if they made a request for a certain amount of plants, they would have received it. So we want to assure farmers that if you have a special request, let us know, and we could, you know, tailor-made, prepare it and have it ready for you, basically, to go. So there's no excuse not to go and plant with all the other inputs of the farm machinery and other things like that. So also, I want to add that prior to the tissue culture lab coming on stream under the World Bank project, we would have already taken an initiative to get some tissue culture plant. So I'm happy to report that we have 30,000 banana plants that is on land right now. Okay. So within the next 3 to 4 weeks time, we need to harden it, you know, so that will be available to farmers. So we want to encourage farmers to start cleaning the land and get ready. We have 70,000 pineapple plants. We have 12,000 coconut plants. And another 10,000 or thereabout with under the CADI GCNA program. We also have 1,000 cassava plants, you know. So we have planting material within a matter of 3 to 4 weeks that are available and ready to go out in the field. So all this we are doing to make sure that part of the land cleaning, that farmers cannot complain that they don't have planting material. And in fact, we need this crop, especially banana and plantain, as cover crops before you begin to plant the spices, the nutmeg, and so that would make sense. And added to that, of course, they would come into production much earlier, because we know that the other crops would take between 3 to 5 or 10 years, as the case may be, to come on stream. So that also would be a form of short-term and medium-term income for farmers while they wait for the cocoa and the nutmeg to come back into food production. Right.
And I'm assuming the short crops are also is part of the tissue culture program also?
It is, yes. Yeah. I also hasten to add, though, that we would continue with the propagation station, the normal regular propagation of plants. In fact, we have approximately 60,000 plants that is in propagation, and of course the usual distribution would start around the rainy season, beginning of July thereabout. So we do have plants that are in the station hardening and getting ready. So again, I'm saying that farmers should have no excuse to say, well, they do not have planting material. Get out there and clean your land and let us give you the material to plant.
All right, great. Let's talk a wee bit now about the breeding program, and of course share some information as related to that. Because we've heard about a lot of the animals that came in and so forth. Tell us a wee bit in relation to that.
Okay, so we would have brought in small ruminants, goats and sheep, pigs, and goat, sheep, and pigs.
Yes,
that's what we would have brought in, and the we now have them at our own facilities at Laura, at Mirabeau, and in St. Patrick's. Yeah. So I know there has been a lot of excitement around those animals. Farmers would want to get their hands on one immediately. Everybody wants to get one immediately. But we have to think about the investment that has been spent to get these animals, to get them here, to keep them healthy so far, because they are thriving. We will have an update on those animals soon on our social media pages, and those animals are doing very well. Actually, some of the goats had kids. So we,
the adoption process to the new surrounding and so forth.
Yes,
right. So we would have had to let them get adapted to our conditions. Yeah. They were brought in from the US, so they had to get used to being in a tropical place. It's different. They also had to get used to the feed, the different, all of that. They had to get acclimatized.
Yes.
And so the program really is a breeding program. That is what we want people to understand.
All right.
That it is not for us to give you one of these animals for you to grow and then kill. We want our slaughter, if you want to put it that way.
We emphasize on that a whole lot. It's a breeding program.
We want you. Yeah.
So I also want to add that as part of the whole breeding program, we have already selected, trying to review the list. So we're going to give in 25 goat farmers a male goat, similar to the sheep 25 farmers, and the same thing with the pig, so that they would, the male that they are receiving, they would breed their own stock and to be able to breed other farmers around. Right. So, but we want to maintain the pure breed stock in the key stations that we have identified, so that you could get a pure bred animal there. So we first of all look into F1 and F2 and F3 crosses, and then you could begin to sell, and of course those that is not suitable for breeding, then you're going to call them and send them to the market. So
is there a timeline in terms of the whole process that is at the stages it's at right now?
We're ready to give out the animals.
You're ready to give out?
In fact, by the middle of this month, we're going to start giving the farmers the male animal, and the pigs, in local terms, they are in heat, and they're ready to breed. So that also, once we begin to give out, then that would create some additional space for us, because you were speaking about approximately 83 gilts. If each of them breed and they make an average of 10 piglets, you will easily have over 800-900 piglets in one breeding, and you could get at least 2 liters within a year. So the program could multiply extremely fast.
I mean, once it's run properly also.
So we do have the institutional structure in place in terms of you have a stockman, you have an overall farm manager, you have a stockman in every of the farm, you have assistants, you have people that is working to clean, and of course we have the deployment of vets to make sure that that service and that care is being given. Those farmers that will be given animals, they also will be getting some support with feed and also veterinary care. We also have quite a large stock of medication in terms of dewormers and boosters, etc., etc. So again, it's going to be provided the kind of support.
I want you to highlight that again for me. You didn't mention it. So you said 25 animals per farmers, or 25 animals will be given to different farmers.
Yes.
So some will be getting males, some will be getting females.
Predominantly male at
first. And that will be incorporated what they have already.
Right.
So they can, of course, increase their livestock what they have. That's a process.
Because the main thing is that you're talking about pigs or the animals with good genetic quality. So, whereas you might mine a pig here for 6 months and they barely make 80 pounds, we have pigs right now that is 6 months, that is over 120 pounds. And in fact, I want to say a special appeal to farmers that the pigs that you'd be receiving is not to eat, because they're looking so good, you could literally put them on a barbecue grill and ready, but it is not to eat.
It is
for
breeding purposes.
Yes.
All right. So, I guess that's going to have to be overemphasized a whole lot. Let them know, hey, that is the purpose that you're having it for.
Yeah. They will get meat eventually to eat, but after a year or two.
All right. All right. We're due for a second break. When we take it. When we come back, I want us to take our focus a whole lot on youth in agriculture. Young people today, they always the option of not wanting to go there, if you could say it in that particular way. We'll talk a whole lot about that when we come back, and then after the next segment, we'll introduce I see the phones already going, but the segment for the callers will suddenly come around shortly. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Stay with us. Don't touch your dial.
GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed. Stay ahead. First with the news. Fast with the updates.
Whether you're a culinary expert like me, okay, I'm joking, I'm not an expert, I'm a novice, or a novice like me, we have the products for you to assist you on your culinary journey. Let us start with the seasoning. This is the foundation. This is where you start. So we have our small sachets here. As you can see, we have chicken, we have fish, we have all-purpose, we have the flavor, the pot, various sizes. We have the shakers here in 125 gram as well in the same flavors. And if you want a larger format, we have it in the 200 gram. Remember, these things will be available at the GBN Maggie King of the Grill, and they're also available at your favorite store or supermarket nationwide.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th, so don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. Once again, Mr. Bhagwan and, of course, Mr. Louis, welcome back to the program. Folks, as I mentioned before the break, I want to talk about youth in agriculture. I want to hear about the plans that the ministry have for youth, for young people in general in agriculture in Grenada. I want to hear some of the plans that you have as we move forward.
Okay, before we go to the youth in agriculture, just permit me 2 minutes just to say something briefly on the poultry sector.
Yeah.
All right. So we currently have a poultry export through the FAO and ICA arrangements. So that export is not just a technical person, but he's actually red chickens himself. In fact, he manages a 3 million bird farm. So he's speaking from practical experience. So he's been here. Government have passed a policy, a poultry policy last year. Mm-hmm. We asked them to look at the gaps, the areas of strength, weaknesses, and where we could have comparative advantage. So we expect a report within 2 weeks' time. But again, it is targeted in terms of key areas, in terms of the inputs. So like the issues of bringing in the old chicks versus doing your own hatchery, looking at the issue of feeding, looking at the issue of your pens, and of course the the outpens in terms of the growing arrangements, but also to looking at the whole issue of processing and marketing. So it's a holistic overview because, again, that is an important sector for the government. We import 90% of the chicken that we consume, poultry products. And so we, over the next 3 years, and through the CARICOM 25 by 25 initiative, we want to see if we could bring up that is Grenada up to at least 25% within the next 3 years. A doable task, but once we provide the requisite support and funding and technical assistance, then we think we could get there. So it is looking good. We are in discussions with different stakeholders, and we think that it is doable. So I just wanted to make that point in this regard.
Great.
Yeah. So, youth in agriculture. As all of us know, the average age of the farmer is 55. He must be gone to 60 now. 65 now. 65. Yeah. 65. So we have to be able to find innovative ways to encourage our young people to get into the farming sector. Of course, we know that they would want to come in from the technical end, the technology end, with the hydroponics and aquaculture and these kind of areas. And so we, in terms of the government of Grenada, we have approached the CARICOM Development Fund. So we have received funding for a program just that, Youth in Agriculture. Yeah. And it's targeting persons up to 35 years old as classified as youth. And the program is $1.35 million EC dollars. It started in June June 2023, sorry. So we're just about halfway through the program cycle. Recently, the CARICOM Development Fund came to do a kind of midterm evaluation. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more to be done, but we're well on our way. So we have 100 young persons that is participating in a certified program with the Grenada National Training Agency in the area of level 2 certification in crop production, livestock, and agro-processing. We're also going to be having 25 persons from Carriacou. We should have started with Carriacou last year, but because, of course, the hurricane. So we have restarted the interview recently, and we're just about close to the level. So we have that training that I've started is almost complete. In fact, it should have been completed already, but because of the hurricane, there was a 2 months delay. We also have the training, vocational training for 200 young persons again in the area of farm techniques in terms of the regular support to farming. We also just about to enter into an agreement with the Grenada GIDC, Grenada Industrial Investment Development Agency, sorry. All right, so that we're targeting, 150 young persons. So the contract with GIDC would be to assist these young persons to come out with a business plan. All right, so you come on there with a ready-made business plan, all the various parameters. And we have a draft final agreement with Grenada Development Bank, approximately $800,000 that would be in that coffer, so that, again, the same young persons who come with this business plan could be able to access a loan or a grant through the GDB. The approximate value is about $5,000. We know that is not much, but we're looking to see how we could source additional amount of money to buffer that up, so that the persons who want to start a business would have a reasonable amount. We think that between $10,000 to $20,000 is a reasonable amount as a startup. Because you know that there will be failures and so. So $5,000 is just a bit short, but we're looking at other avenues. So that is one entry point for us in terms of making sure that the young persons have the skills and the understanding, because you see, we have to approach agriculture as a business, and very often people don't do the business of it. They know that they raise some animals or they plant some crops and they sell it, and that's the end. But what about the input and all the things, and those that you consume for yourself and give your friends, etc.? And what's about the amount to plow back into the business? So you need to understand it, or else, as one of my planning officers say, your hobbies, you're just going doing it for hobby and wasting funds. So that is one of the avenue in terms of youth in agriculture. Cabinet have also directed us to meet with the Ministry of Youth to look at again a program and to seek funding, so that again we could provide that similar support so that the persons who are joining or participating in this program, that they would understand the dynamics of what is involved and the different entry points. Because as I've said, we tend to see agriculture as the the forking of the land and these backbreaking
kind of
skills and so. But we need people. In fact, we providing support also to the agro-processing sector. This year we have over $500,000 that is allocated. So we deliberately want to make sure that the same produce that crops that we are producing, that there is value added. And so in the process, we already have a register, but updating it so that we could provide that support to agro-processors. The Chinese have also recently provided 30 scholarships to go to China for 3 weeks to learn the techniques of agro-processing. So all that is as a means for young persons to get involved and to see agriculture from a different angle.
We also have our land bank project and program where, because we know that is one of the biggest setbacks for a lot of young people who want to get into agriculture, that they don't have the land and they can't access the land. It's very difficult to get a loan for land, especially if you're a young person. You can't get the access. And so we have a land bank project, and we're hoping that it's a pilot now, but we're hoping that other people, private citizens, would join into that project and place their land with government. It's not going to be stolen or taken. It's going to just be used. We have a lot of idle land now. Most of the idle land that we have belongs to private citizens. Right. We have 90% of the land that is privately owned. And we have a lot of young people who are willing and able to go and work that land, but they just don't have the ability to get their own land. And so part of the land bank project is the government's way, the way of allowing young people to access the land. We are currently in the process of putting in the infrastructure for one of the pilot areas that we have in Grand Bacolet. We're fixing the roads and organizing so that the farmers there would have access, to be able to go there easily, and to assist them to be able to make their lives much easier. And of course, because as you said, farming is hard. The actual work of farming is hard, but it's very, very rewarding. If we look at some of the bigger and longer term farmers that we have in Grenada, they may not speak about it a lot, but it is very, very profitable. The work is it's healthy for you. It's a whole circle, because you go outside, you're with nature. Even though you're working, you're exercising your body, you can feed yourself from your farm, and of course you can sell. And many, many farmers have proven that it is extremely profitable, and we want our young people to see that. We want our young people to understand that being a farmer is not for the dunce people. Before, you would say, people would always say, oh, you're miserable, you're not doing anything, look, piece of land, go and farm. But it is not, that is really not so. Farmers are extremely intelligent. I have met farmers who maybe cannot read properly, but they can tell me they do their own studies, they do their own research. When they look and they try something and they say, well, I'm not sure why it's working, but I'm going to do it this way and put this amount. So farmers are extremely intelligent, and we want our young people to see those kind of success stories, so that that once you get in, you can be a success. And the ministry and the government, we're continuing to support and assist our young people to ensure that we have that longevity, because as we said, 65 is the age at this point, and we're getting, so we move from 55 to 60 to now 65. So we have to get our young people involved.
I have a friend who's in another island or in the Caribbean who has a university degree, and he does farming. Does not even pay much of attention to his particular degree, and it's very profitable for him. You understand? And so it's always the incentives that is also offered to young people. Because young people today, they always have to see some form of incentive part of it. And you didn't mention some of the incentive in terms of the loans and stuff they could get after they go through the program. You understand? And I certainly hope that they follow through on it a whole lot, work with the incentive, and I hope the ministry agriculture will take the part in terms of that encouragement,
Right.
and always be there on their backs to make sure that, you know, there's always going to be the option of failure going to come about, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop to what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes we get the option where you feel, well, what I tried didn't work, so maybe it's not for me. You understand? It's sometimes the mindset that we grow with. So certainly with this incentive, they will hold on, and we see much more young people getting involved in agriculture. It could be the backbone of the nation in time to come.
Yes,
Certainly so. All right. Hey, 435-2041, that's the number, 435-2041. If you do have a question or two you would like to ask my guest this morning, feel free to do so. As we take our first caller, we lost that caller there, 435. You have double options of calling in. Don't forget you also have the WhatsApp that you could also call us via. Let's take our first caller once again. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, brother. Good morning
to you.
Good morning to you guys. No, all this talk is really sung and good. But what is the reality on the ground? Is that a farmer, I've been involved in that, so I know what I'm talking about. Get the loan, plant this crop. I say tomatoes. Tomatoes, they're really nice. A farmer is looking for market now. A farmer will call all the supermarkets in Grenada. They will say, yes, let me call you back. Then they call you back. They say, bring 2 crates down. When they bring 2 crates, go to any supermarket in Grenada here, any place you go and sell your goods. The person that is buying the good from you, if you don't pay them, if you don't give them a cut in what you make from that area, you will not get a sale again from that place. Once that person is working on that desk. That's the reality on the ground in Grenada here. Is you have to pay your way as a farmer to get a sale in this country. Black market dealers going on crazy in Grenada here. So farmers are seeing real trouble. Real trouble on the ground. Then the vendor will come now. When the farmer can't get the sale in supermarkets, the vendor will come and tell you they're giving you $2 a pound. Now you work so hard, you plant the thing. You have no choice. You get $2 a pound. And they're going to sell it for 10. And you as the farmer, you lose. And they will go as fine and tell you credit and make the big goods. When they come again, they'll tell you what, all spoiling or half spoiling. And they would con you again. So farmers are going to what you call a real hell on the ground. What I would like to see from the Ministry of Agriculture, put some emphasis in some large coconut farms. You go to different islands, you would see acres and acres of coconuts. Acres, we need to plant back our cocoa. Really good. We need to plant back acres and acres of cocoa. And nutmeg, that's not the crop that brings foreign exchange. We're not focusing there at all. We're focusing on things that hydroponics and this thing is good. I welcome that. But that's for the local market. And sometimes we can't get sales. So how do our farmers move forward? The talk is nice, it's sounding good, but on the reality on the ground, what I spoke about earlier on, that's the reality. Farmers can't get sales. And they're in real trouble. How do you fix that? Have a nice day.
All right, caller, thank you. Thank you so much. Any respond to the caller in terms of some of the so you mentioned? Or we want to move on to another caller?
No, we respond.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Respond to the caller.
Okay, so in terms of the market, we know that is a real problem for our farmers. So what we're doing now is to try to have a production plan where you know exactly what is being planted, so you will know when they're going to be harvesting in all the different areas around Grenada. And so you will be able to have a plan for the harvest before you get the harvest. Because one of the major problems with the supermarkets and the hotels is the consistency of the supply that our farmers produce. So one day they would be expecting to have, as the caller said, 2 crates of tomatoes. But on that day, the hotel they've planned their menu, they've planned everything according to that. And the supermarket, they've planned, they haven't bought anything from anybody else, so they're waiting for that. And on that day, the farmer decides that he's going to get, or he realizes he can get $2 more for the 2 crates from somebody else. He goes and he sells it.
He forgot that.
You understand? Yeah. So it's a balance that we have to have, and part of it is making sure that we have a plan. If we know what is being produced when, we can organize the marketing of that. We can ensure that the hotels will know, or the supermarkets will know, on this day you can get this amount of whatever produce. That is part of what MNIB well, whatever it's called now, is going to, that is part of their mandate to ensure that the crops that we produce are the crops that are sold to our supermarkets. Because as much as our farmers say there is no market or they can't find market, if you look at our import bill, we are importing so many of the things that we can produce. And so I think it's a matter of organization and getting the producers and the purchasers together so that we know what is produced when, so we can have that in our loop, so that as you produce, you know what is coming and you can plan and have contracts, so to speak, established between the farmers and the purchasers.
Just two little points based on the last input from the caller. So in terms of the coconut farms, as I've mentioned, we do have 10,000 coconut plants that are available. In fact, I've already mandated on one of the government estates to have a coconut grove so that we could actually plant the coconuts there, right, and to be able to multiply and to give to other farmers, etc. What have been happening in the past is a farmer come by 2 or 3 plants, he put in the corner island, and that is it. But we want to deliberately focus on the coconut industry for in terms of the coconut water and then of course those for the dry coconuts in terms of oil, etc. The other point quickly as it relates to the cocoa, the government have signed a contract with GCNA to clean and plant 100 acres of nutmeg and cocoa. So the contract is signed, work is actually taking place, and we do have over 4,000 plants that is available right now, plus a large quantity will be available in the next 2 to 3 months. So again, we are taking steps in that direction, and I must say that again, cocoa is a very lucrative thing. In fact, the price of cocoa is up now, and we're encouraging people to plant back cocoa.
Okay, great. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Hi, good morning, GT.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to your guest. First, I'd like to commend Mr. Bhagwan. I think he's doing an excellent job as the Permanent Secretary. I can say that because I've been following the Ministry of Agriculture for quite some years, and I don't want to say impressed, but I'm proud. I'm happy to see the way things are going, but I do have some recommendations. We keep saying every time we speak about agriculture, it seems as if we're speaking about farming. No, agriculture is not farming. There are many other careers in agriculture. So we speak about youth in agriculture, then we speak about youth wanting to get involved in farming. There are many other careers. There are biotechnologies, there are microbiologists, there are agronomists. So I'd like for us to extend that a bit. So when we speak about youth in agriculture, let's encourage the youth that there are other things. There are veterinary, there are biotechnologists, there are agronomists, there are soil technicians, many other careers. Agriculture is an extensive field. Let's not think that farming is agriculture. Secondly, I wanted to also point out what that caller a while ago mentioned, that yes, we're doing a lot of work. We're bringing in the banana plants. I was so impressed with that tissue culture import. But one of the challenges that I'm having is that, yes, we're seeing the imports, we're seeing the quantities, but I want to see more productivity, as the farmer said, and as you also suggested. We need more industries. So I need to see a farm where you can go and get 2-3 truckloads of jelly, 2-3 truckloads of coconut, 2-3 truckloads of cocoa, back to that kind, because really and truly, that's the only way a farmer or an agriculturalist can really see the economic benefits. So you have a lot of farmers that say, oh, farming is not economically beneficial to them because you're not productive. You as a small farmer, by the time you plant 1 little pack of tomatoes, you pay somebody to do this, you're not making any profit. So we need to subsistence farming is excellent and all of that, but it's not something we want to be taking on as the ministry to say be pushing. I want to see us, so like with the banana plants, I'd love to see one farmer planting 3,000 bananas instead of one farmer getting 200 or 50. Yeah, I want us to really work on that. I'm also impressed with the chicken farming crochet they're about. I hope you guys, I see you guys are doing some work with them so that we can really develop the poultry sector. We can create more jobs. We can start probably selling to other countries instead of us importing from Barbados and stuff like that with the tissue culture, all of that. I am impressed. Just keep putting in the work, and hopefully by next year we can really see the impact of this while we continue to improve on our human resource in the ministry. But keep doing an excellent job.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you for
much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the contribution there. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Wonderful program. Wonderful. You've checked most of my boxes, especially the one to do with access to land and the marketing part. There are just two parts that I would like to look at. Is one of them has to do with labor, because we cannot all do it ourselves, and we have to employ people sometimes. The machinery can do everything. And I think that there has to be some sort of policy on labor and rates of labor in farming, because it's very difficult for a farmer. You call one guy and he says, give me $200, another one tells you give him $7 for the same plot of land. So some sort of regulation has to take place there. And the other one, which the last caller addressed, is the matter of technical assistance. Only 40% of agriculture globally is farming, and most of the rest has to do in marketing of agricultural products, transportation, storage, which is another important area. And I think that we need to do at this point in time, in addition to expanding our the extension office and have more extension offices, we should also encourage young Grenadians to get involved in that area so they can actually develop a career, private career, in going around and giving assistance to farmers. So it becomes almost as a business in itself, of young people trained to go out to the farms, to improve the farms, make a profitable livelihood, and so I'm very encouraged. We have to keep going, and we have to check the boxes. Wonderful, good program.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any response to the caller?
One quick comment on the labor aspect. So in fact, the Prime Minister would have mentioned that in his recent town hall meeting last week, that it is a major challenge. We recognize it also too in the agricultural sector, but generally across the board in terms of labor and semi-skilled persons. In fact, the Prime Minister was suggesting that possibly we may have to look at importing labor. Of course, we'll have to review our regulations, etc., to that. But it is a challenge in terms of finding adequate labor, to work the farms and so. And quickly on the issue of scholarships and so, we currently have nine persons in Ghana studying agriculture, livestock. We also have, I think, 10 in University of the West Indies doing online courses. And we do have quite a number of offers. But again, it's the persons taking up the offer to do these scholarships and in the particular area. You see, our bilateral agreements, we have to ask for what you want, and we need to say, well, we need this specialist in that area, and they will try and facilitate us. But if we don't ask and we don't know what we want, then
it's obviously they can't offer it.
So there are opportunities, but we just need to capitalize on it.
All right, let's take another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, sir. Morning.
Yes, good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Also morning to your guest. Mr. Bhagwan, you're doing a very good job. There is a radio program hosted every Thursday evening from around 8 o'clock with an individual that's so bad talking the Ministry of Agriculture and keep saying so much of things which is untrue. Listening to you there, you lift the bar. You make me feel good. And that is the way to go. Keep it up, and agriculture will see its way. All we need is price. We don't have price.
All right, caller, thank you very much. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's take another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Well, and I reckon this will be the final one, Miss. This is very interesting information, Miss St. Louis. Good morning, and Mr. Bhagwan.
Good morning, sir.
Well, listen to me. I just want to hint you. I appreciate all that. I only hope within the next couple of months or the next year that we start to see results. But I want to leave you with this one. I want you to be absolutely careful with the use of the verb would have plus the past participle. You people use it often incorrectly. When you say something would have happened, it never happened. I I urge you to do a research on it so that we can correct that aspect of our expression. No insult meant. Thank you very much for what it's worth. Do have a nice day, will you?
Thank you, sir. Have a good morning. Thank you. Let's take another caller, and maybe our final caller for the morning. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, GT, and good morning, Mr. Bhagwan, and good morning, Ms. St. Louis.
Good morning.
Yes, I must indeed say I'm happy to see agriculture moving. Some years ago, I went to Spiceland Mall, and I did see in that there was a little bag properly prepared, and in that bag they had a number of different, some ground provisions, some green bananas, and everything packaged nicely, and that came from Jamaica, sadly. You know, because I know we do produce these things, but yet I'm seeing it come from Jamaica. I would like to see something like that, like a little oil dung bag with all the things that can be used for oil dung. If they can actually go ahead and produce these kinds of things and package it nicely and have the packaging quite decorated quite nicely, I would definitely like to see something like that happening in Grenada. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Of course, Mr. Bhagwan, I'm going to encourage that.
Certainly.
Of course. Encourage that a whole lot. We got to that stage of the one where we're going to have to take a wrap for today's program. I want to thank you both once again for coming on the program this morning and sharing the information. Very fruitful information, and I certainly hope, especially youth in of course, in agriculture, I'll grab the interest of young people who are listening to this program this morning and get involved in the programs that have been offered, and just a way of getting agriculture moving forward, because they are the future. You said the older folks are at a time they ain't going to be able to do this no more, and so forth. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
Well, the Ministry of Agriculture, we remain steadfast in our support of our farmers. We may not always get it right. Sometimes what we plan may take a little longer than our farmers and our stakeholders would like, but we have to plan and we have to ensure, that we put the things in place so that we can implement those plans. We will continue to support. We welcome the ideas. You can reach out to us. We're not thinking that we can do everything ourselves or we can think of everything ourselves. But we really, really would like for our stakeholders, our farmers, our agro-processors, and even the support services for the farms. We would really like for everybody to really buckle down. It's a serious time in our lives, in our history, in the history of the world right now. And we have to be able to feed ourselves. We have to be able to ensure that the shocks outside there don't hit us as hard as they can without us being able to feed ourselves. And so we will continue to partner with our stakeholders to ensure that our food, we become food secure. Because right now we're not food secure, but to move as close as possible to having food security in our nation.
All right, I mean, a small island, we should be able to do that, right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So I just want to say thanks for the opportunity. I hope that we've been able to share quite a bit of information. We do have our Facebook page and other mediums that will be providing information. We're committed to the process. Yeah. That is all I would say. We're very committed to the process to fulfill the mandate of the Ministry of Agriculture. Of course, we work with a government, so the mandate of the government. And of course, we have quite a number of plans, our own strategic plan, our own buying into the CARICOM development plan, and of course our own national sustainable development plan. So it would tweak as the time goes based on the situation, but we are very committed to the process, and we do all we can to create that enabling environment, because it is a partnership. We can only do so much, but we depend on the farmers and other stakeholders to do their part so that we could bring some level of security into the country as it relates to food and quality of food.
All right. Once again, Mr. Bhagwan, we want to thank you once again, Mr. Louis. Thank you also.
Thank you.
And of course, hope we can have another conversation. Of course, hope not too far off.
Of course, you call us.
Goes by, you
call us when you're ready.
Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hey, folks, as we're going to take a wrap for this edition of To The Point for today, join me again tomorrow for another edition. Goodbye.